Nitai Gaura Haribol, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bo. Jayom Vishnupad Paramahamsa Pradivraja Acharya Asto Tarasata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayom Vishnupad Paramahamsa Pradivraja Acharya Asto Tarasata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana Ki Jai. Brajabhumi Shri Vrindavan Dhama Ki Jai. Mayapur Navadvip Dhama Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Kalachanji Dhama Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Tulasi Marani Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Kala Chanji Radha Kala Chanji Radhe Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Hare Krishna. Good morning. My name is Manjari Gopika Devi Dasi, and today we're starting a new chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. We'll be hearing from Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 6, Chapter 3, verses 1 through 18, focusing on verse 12. Before we begin, I ask for your blessings that I may speak something pleasing to my spiritual master, to Srila Prabhupada, and to all the devotees. Let us begin by chanting the invocation prayers together. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narotamam devim sarvasvatim vyasyam tato jayamudirayet nashtaprayesha badreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavata yuttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. All right, Canto 6, Chapter 3, verses 1 through 18. So this chapter is entitled Yamaraj Instructs His Messengers. we have quite a bit of ground to cover. I'm going to summarize the first 6 verses, and then we'll start reading text 7. Hopefully we'll get all the way through 18. So King Parikshit asked Shukadeva Goswami to explain this remarkable event that has just happened involving Yamaraj, the Lord of Justice, who presides over who judges the deeds of all living beings once they leave their bodies. So Yamaraj's authority has been unexpectedly challenged when his servants, the Yamadutas, were stopped by the Vishnu Dutas from taking the sinful Ajamil. So curious and confused, the Yamadutas returned to Yamaraj to report this incident and to seek answers from him. The Yamadutas are deeply unsettled by this, and they question Yamaraj, wondering how many rulers exist in the universe and who ultimately controls the laws of karma. Because if multiple authorities govern reward and punishment, they reason, these conflicting judgments could cancel each other out, creating chaos. Therefore, they believe that there must be one supreme authority who oversees all other rulers and judges. The Yamadutas had assumed that it was Yamaraj that held this role, but the actions of the Vishnu Dutas suggest otherwise. Eager to understand, they ask Yamaraj to clarify who this supreme authority is and how it could be that Yamaraj's own orders had been overruled. So let us start with text 7.
The supreme judge must be one, not many. It was our understanding that you are that supreme judge and that you have jurisdiction even over the demigods. Our impression was that you are the master of all living entities, the supreme authority who discriminates between the pious and impious activities of all human beings.
But now we see that punishment ordained under your authority is no longer effective, since your order has been transgressed by 4 wonderful and perfect persons.
Text 9. We were bringing the most sinful Ajamil toward the hellish planets following your order, when those beautiful persons from Siddhaloka forcibly cut the knots of the ropes with which we were arresting him.
As soon as the sinful Ajamil uttered the name Narayan, these 4 beautiful men immediately arrived and reassured him, saying, "Do not fear, do not fear. We wish to know about them from your lordship. If you think we are able to understand them, kindly describe who they are."
Sri Shukadeva Goswami said, "Thus having been questioned by Lord Yamaraj, the supreme controller of the living entities, was very pleased with his order carriers because of hearing from them the holy name of Narayana. He remembered the lotus feet of the Lord and began to reply.
Yamaraj said, "My dear servant, you have accepted me as the supreme, but factually I am not. Above me and above all other demigods, including Indra and Chandra, is the one supreme master and controller. The partial manifestations of his personality of Brahman are Brahman, Vishnu, and Shiva, who are in charge of the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of this universe. He is like the 2 threads that form a length and breadth of the woven cloth. The entire world is controlled by him, just as a bull is controlled by a rope in its nose."
Just as the driver of a bullock cart ties ropes to the nostrils of his bulls to control them, the Supreme Personality of Godhead binds all men to the ropes of his words in the Vedas, which set forth the names and activities of the distinct orders of human society, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaisya, and Sudra, In fear, the members of these orders all worship the Supreme Lord by offering him presentations according to their respective activities.
Text 14 and 15. I, Yamaraj, Indra the king of heaven, Nriti, Varuna, Chandra, the moon god, Agni, Lord Shiva, Pavana, Lord Brahma, Surya, the sun god, Vishvasu, the 8 Vasus, the Sadhyas, the Maruts, the Rudras, the Siddhas and Marichi, and the other great rishis engaged in maintaining the departmental affairs of the universe, as well as the best of the demigods headed by Brihaspati and the great sages headed by Bhrigu, are all certainly freed from the influence of the 2 base material modes of nature, namely passion and ignorance. Nevertheless, although we are in the mode of goodness, we cannot understand the activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What then is to be said of others who, under illusion, merely speculate to know God?
As the different limbs of the body cannot see the eyes, living entities cannot see the Supreme Lord, who is situated as the Supersoul in everyone's heart, not by the senses, by the mind, by the life air, by thoughts within the heart, or by the vibration of words can the living entities ascertain the real situation of the Supreme Lord.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead is self-sufficient and fully independent. He is the master of everyone and everything, including the illusory energy. He has his form, qualities, and features, and similarly his order carriers, the Vaishnavas, who are very beautiful, possess bodily features, transcendental qualities, and a transcendental nature almost like his. They always wander within this world with full independence.
The order carriers of Lord Vishnu, who are worshipped even by the demigods, possess wonderful bodily features, exactly like those of Vishnu, and are very rarely seen. The Vishnu Dutas protect the devotees of the Lord from the hands of enemies, from envious persons, and even from my jurisdiction, as well as from natural disturbances.
Haribol. Let us go to text 12, the focus verse for today. So is this on? Seems low all of a sudden. Okay. Sure. Okay, sure. Hare Krishna. Text 12. So in the interest of time, we'll do this call and response, the Sanskrit, and then we'll chant it all together once. Yama uvacha paro maranya jagatashtatushaschа utam protam pata vadyatra vishvam Yad amshatosya stiti janmanasha nasyota vadyasya vashe chaloka. And together, Yama uvacha paro maranyo jagatashtatushaschа Otam protam pata vadyatra vishvam Yaram shatosya stiti janmanasha Nasyota vadyasya vashe chaloka. Let's do the synonyms together. Yama uvacha. Yamaraj replied. Para, superior. Mat, then me. Anya, another. Jagata, of all moving things. Tashusha, of non-moving things. cha, and, otam, crosswise, protam, lengthwise, patavat, like a woven cloth, yatra, in whom, vishvam, the cosmic manifestation, yat, of whom, amshata, from the partial expansions, asya, of this universe, shtiti, the maintenance, janma, the creation, nasha, the annihilation, nasi, in the nose, otavat, like the rope, yasya, of whom, vashe, under the control, cha, and loka, the whole creation. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Yamaraj said, "My dear servants, you have accepted me as the supreme, but factually I am not. Above me and above all the other demigods, including Indra and Chandra, is the one supreme master and controller. The partial manifestations of his personality are Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, who are in charge of the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of this universe. He is like the two threads that form the length and breadth of woven cloth. The entire world is controlled by him, just as a bull is controlled by a rope in its nose." Purport. The order carriers of Yamaraj suspected that there was a ruler even above Yamaraj. To eradicate their doubts, Yamaraj immediately replied, "Yes, there is one supreme controller above everything. Yamaraj is in charge of some of the moving living entities, namely the human beings, but the animals who also move are not under his control. Only human beings have consciousness of right and wrong, and among them only those who perform sinful activities come under the control of Yamaraj. Therefore, although Yamaraj is a controller, he is only a departmental controller of a few living entities. There are other demigods who control many other departments, but above them all is one supreme controller, Krishna. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigrahar. The supreme controller is Krishna. Others who control their own departments in the affairs of the universe are insignificant in comparison to Krishna, the supreme controller. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 7.7, Mata parataram nanyat kinshid asti dhananjaya. My dear Dhananjaya Arjuna, no one is superior to me. Therefore, Yamaraj immediately cleared away the doubts of his assistants, the Yamadutas, by confirming that there is a supreme controller above all others. Srila Madhva Acharya explains that the words otam protam refer to the cause of all causes. The Supreme Lord is both vertical and horizontal to the cosmic manifestation. This is confirmed by the following verse from the Skanda Purana. Yatta kanta pata sutra ota protascha sashtita evam vishna vidam vishvam otam protam cha samstitam. Like the two threads, horizontal and vertical, of which a quilt is manufactured, Lord Vishnu is situated as the vertical and horizontal cause of the cosmic manifestation. All right, so once again, I'm speaking on something I'm not qualified to speak on. We're going to talk about Yamaraj. So we see here that Yamaraj is truly a great devotee. Because generally when someone becomes very, very powerful and they have a lot of control, they become proud and they forget their source and they think no one is greater than me. But Yamaraj, although he has supreme control over all beings in the universe, he's doing it all as a humble service to his master Krishna. And here in today's verse, he's explaining, you have accepted me as supreme, but factually I'm not. Above me, and in fact above all the demigods, he names them, Indra, Shiva, Brahma, Chandra, above all of us is Krishna. He is the supreme controller of all controllers. So this is a very, very essential verse to understand. And the first verse of Brahma Samhita is quoted in the purport here. And the Brahma Samhita is written by Lord Brahma, another demigod who has a ton of control in the material universe. And the first verse is Ishvara Parama Krishna. Krishna is the origin of all. He has no other origin, and he's the prime cause of all causes. So Yamaraj is repeating this message in today's verse. Krishna is Ishvara, not me. And in the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna himself says, neither the hosts of demigods nor the great sages know my origins or opulence, for in every respect I am the source of all demigods and sages. Yamaraj is not an ordinary person. He is the son of who? Thank you, Jeshna. Yes, Yamaraj is the son of Suryadev, who is the sun god, but Suryadev is not only just the sun god, he was the person to whom Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita before Arjuna. Yamaraj is his son, and Yamaraj is also one of the 12 Mahajans. A Mahajan means a great person or a great soul. And the Mahajans are considered models of virtue and knowledge, who not only understand the nature of the universe, but also live in a way that inspires others to follow the path of bhakti. And they are considered authorities in our tradition. Their lives and teachings give us guidance. So a little later in this chapter, Yamaraj himself states a very famous verse, Swayambur Narada Shambhu, Kumara Kapilo Manu, Pralado Janaka Bhishmo, Balir Vaisakir Vayam, which means Lord Brahma, Bhagavan Narada, Lord Shiva, the 4 Kumaras, Lord Kapila, Swayambhuva Manu, Prahlad Maharaj, Janaka Maharaj, Grandfather Bhishma, Bali Maharaj, Shukadev Goswami, and I myself know the real religious principle. So these are the 12 Mahajans. And the only way for us to know Krishna, to understand the nature of our existence, is to follow in the footsteps of the Mahajans. Yamaraj is one of the greatest, most powerful demigods, and he also has a very thankless task. I was thinking about this the other day. I was thinking about how the other demigods, people are at least are grateful to them. Like Indra, I don't think anyone really worships him today, but people used to and be really grateful for the rain that he would send. Of course, they get these powers from Krishna. People are really thankful to Lord Shiva and Lord Ganesh, but no one is ever happy to see Yamaraj. It's a very thankless job. And Prabhupada explains that Yamaraj is surely among the most confidential representatives of Krishna. He says that such confidential posts are offered to great devotees of the Lord who are as good as his eternal associates in the spiritual sky. Prabhupada also pointed out that there are more wrongdoers than there are righteous men. Therefore, Yamaraj has to do more work than other demigods, who are also authorized agents of the Supreme Lord. We know the great devotees of the Lord are engaged in his constant service. So Yamaraj, his job is the death department, punishing the wrongdoers, rewarding the good people, and he works very, very hard. And here Yamaraj is telling his servants, his own worshippers, you have been worshiping me for all these years, and that's all right, but if you really want to please me, you should know who I am worshiping. So Yamaraj in this verse, he's not only speaking to his followers, he's a Mahajan, remember. So as a Mahajan, he's speaking to all the followers of all demigods. He's informing us the greatest way to worship the Devatas, to please the Devatas, is to offer all respects to them in their relationship to Krishna, Narayan. In the 11th canto, Karnamuni says, one who worships Mukunda is not indebted to the demigods, great sages, ordinary living beings, relatives, friends, mankind, or even one's forefathers who have passed away. Since all classes of living entities are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, one who has surrendered to the Lord's service has no need to serve such persons separately. We have that famous analogy in our movement. I feel like it's in every class, right? Especially with my spiritual master, I think it's in every class. Because if one waters the root of the tree, we could all say it together, automatically all the branches, twigs, and leaves are nourished. So there's no need for, nor is there any effectiveness in watering the root and watering the leaves and watering the branches. You simply go to the source and take care of the source, and automatically everything is fulfilled. Krishna himself says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo mata sarvam pravartate. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. One of the most popular demigods is Lord Ganesh. And I want to share a story about Lord Ganesh. There's a story where Lord Ganesh and his brother Kartikeya agree to a race, right? They challenge each other to see who can be the fastest going around the universe. And there are some judges. So Kartikeya he's a kshatriya. He's very strong. He's very competitive. His carrier is a peacock that can fly at the speed of lightning. And his brother, Lord Ganesh, is a different physique, not a kshatriya. And his carrier is a little teeny mouse. So from the material point of view, Lord Ganesh didn't have much of a chance of defeating his brother Kartikeya in this race. But he agreed to it. Ready, set, go. Kartikeya takes off. Ganesh doesn't even run. Instead, Ganesh wrote the name of Ram, and then he circumambulated the name of Ram. Then, in a flash, Kartikeya returned. He had already circled the universe. And it was accepted unanimously by the judge, though, that who was the winner? Ganesh. Ganesh won the race. And Kartikeya said, how did you win? I didn't even see you out there. And Ganesh told him, I wrote the name of Ram, and Ram is the Supreme Lord. He is the absolute truth. He has incarnated in his name, therefore everything is contained in the name of Ram. So Lord Ganesh, he has millions of worshippers. People place a lot of faith in him. But His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj says that if we look at this story closely, we should see that the true devotees of Ganapati will have faith in what he has faith in, which is the name of Ram, which is the Supreme Lord. And we should worship Ganesh in asking him to remove all inauspiciousness in our path. Srila Rupa Goswami states the same thing in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, that we should offer our respects to Lord Ganesh by asking him to remove all the obstacles in our service to Krishna. And by doing that, we supremely please Ganapati. Engaging in a transactional relationship, there's no love there. But pleasing, asking for service to the Lord whom the demigod serves is supremely beneficial and pleasing. So Ganesh oversees removing obstacles. Yamaraj is in charge of rectifying the behavior of sinful people. And in this verse, he's preaching to his followers, you're my servants, but I'm the service of Narayan. When Lord Chaitanya was traveling to South India, Lord Chaitanya went into all the major demigod temples and he worshipped those demigods. And he set the example that we should follow. Because how was he worshiping them? He wasn't going to them saying, give me wealth, give me health, give me promotion, give me long life. He was saying, give me devotion to Krishna. He was praying, you are such an exalted devotee of Krishna that he has given you the power to manage his universe. And therefore I offer my obeisances unto you. Please help engage me in the service of the Lord. And I also sometimes think, I didn't grow up Hindu, so I have a different perspective when I hear like a lot of the pastimes of the Devatas. And one thing I always notice is whenever they're in trouble, who do they call? Vishnu! So it's like, wait a minute. They are all going to someone else for help. That's who I should go to when I need help. In this age of Kali, there are many rituals and forms of puja, but the supreme most auspicious is Sankirtan. And in the 11th canto, it's explained, those who worship the demigods receive reciprocation from the demigods in a way just corresponding to the offering. The demigods are attendants of karma. They are not independent. They are like a person's shadow. But sadhus are actually merciful to the fallen. It's explained in the Vedas and in our tradition that you cannot understand what anything is without following in the footsteps of the acharyas. And here, in this canto, in this chapter, in this verse, we find one of the greatest of all acharyas who happens to also be in one of the most powerful positions in the universe. And he's telling us what is the truth, what is the proper perspective to have. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the master of everyone and everything. And Yamaraj, he says in one of the verses we read today, he explains, he names the 12 Mahajans. Lord Brahma, Bhagavan Narada, Lord Shiva, the four Kumaras, Lord Kapila, Svayambhuva Manu, Prahlad Maharaj, Janaka Maharaj, Grandfather Bhishma, Bali Maharaj, Shukadeva Goswami, and I myself know the real religious principle. And what is the real religious principle? What's that? Yeah. You see, it's unmotivated, uninterrupted devotional service to Supreme Lord. And then, in later, just a few verses after where we stopped today, he gives the secret. He gives the supreme method by which we can achieve this. He says devotional service, beginning with the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, is the ultimate religious principle for the living entity in human society. One thing that really shines through in Srimad Bhagavatam is the glories of the devotees and the Supreme Lord, the exchanges between them, their devotion, the Lord's reciprocation. So here in the story of Ajamil, we experience the glories of Krishna and his name. As Yamaraj says in verse 24, therefore it should be understood that one is easily relieved from all sinful reactions by chanting the holy name of the Lord and chanting of his qualities and activities. This is the only process recommended for relief from sinful reactions. Even if one chants the holy name of the Lord with improper pronunciation, he will achieve relief from material bondage if he chants without offenses. Ajamil, for example, was extremely sinful, but while dying, he merely chanted the holy name, and although calling his son, he achieved complete liberation because he remembered the name of Narayan. So that's all from me. I'd love to hear your reflections and comments. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. A nice class. I have a question about verse 17. I'm just going to go back to it. In the verse, it says that... okay, I'll just read the whole thing. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is self-sufficient and fully independent. He is the master of everyone and everything, including the illusory energy. He has his form, qualities, and features. And similarly, his order carriers, the Vaishnavas, who are very beautiful, possess bodily features, transcendental qualities, and a transcendental nature almost like his. They always wander within this world with full independence. So how do they wander with full independence, is my question.
Well, I'll give you my speculation, and probably somebody who actually knows something should speak. But my thought is this is within context of the Yamadutas saying, how is this possible? You are in charge of making sure that all the karmic laws are followed. Bad people go to bad places and good people go to good places, and we're dragging Ajamil, he's a bad person. And then these beautiful beings show up. Who are these beautiful beings? So he's talking about the Vishnu Dutas and those that are in direct service of the Supreme Lord. They're liberated. They're free from... Gokulananda Prabhu was raising his hand, right? They're free from karmic... go ahead, you just speak. He keeps raising his hand.
Yeah, you're right. So Vishnu Dutas, Hare Krishna. So Vishnu Dutas, when it is said that they're wandering within this world with full independence, means they're not subject to any laws of material nature, but they're fully surrendered to Krishna, Vishnu, and they're serving them. So in that sense, I forgot the statement once His Holiness Radharani Swami Maharaj made. I'm just paraphrasing. So real independence means full dependence on Krishna. And thank you for your wonderful class. Speaking about Ganesh, I just remembered there are many Ganesh worshippers back in India, especially the place that I come from, the state, Maharashtra. So Krishna is a multitasker. one of the aspects is of his mercy is to trick these demigod worshippers and make them chant his names. So if you carefully analyze their worship, at the end of the demigod worship, particularly about Ganesha, it always ends with the mantra Pushpanjali, which has the beautiful names of Vishnu, Achyutam, Keshvam, Ramanarayanam, so on and so forth. And finally, it ends up, guess what? Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Ram, they chant Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. And also, it reminds me, there is a verse in Brahmavarta Puran, which there is an adaptation, in fact. It talks about how Mother Parvati, she was in one of the kalpas, supremely attracted by the beautiful pastimes of baby Krishna and his loving exchanges with Mother Yashoda. So she also developed a desire to have a child like Krishna. So she performed severe austerities. She also thought Kartikeya is purely Lord Shiva's son. I don't have any contribution in it. So she wanted her own son. So she performed severe austerities and pleased Krishna, and she wanted Krishna to be her son. So Krishna said, it's not the time for me to appear. I appear only once in Brahma's day. So, but I can give you my Ansha, and that's how Ganesha was born. And if you see, Lord Shiva's entire family has Krishna's Ansha. Like Lord Shiva, his carrier, Nandi. Nandi has Krishna's, because he pleased Krishna, and then Krishna, he asked for Krishna's constant association. So Krishna agreed to provide his Ansha in the form of Nandi. So they have constant association of Krishna, his entire family.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much for a wonderful class, very enriching. So when we were new devotees, we were really excited to hear that there was Yamaraj, the Lord of Death. So devotees would ask Prabhupada, should we be worried that Yamaraj is going to show up and just take us because we're sinful? And so Prabhupada said, no, you should all invite Yamaraj to Kirtan. So when Yamaraj is in Kirtan, he's no time to take anyone for death. And then I have another story that I heard from Srila Virabahu Maharaj. So some devotees asked him, Virabahu Maharaj, Virabahu Das Adhikari Prabhu Maharaj, he is the spiritual master of Gopi Gita. And so we would often hear him speak. So one devotee asked him, Prabhu, does Yamaraj get involved with the devotee's death? And so he said, sometimes. So then he told a story. And the story was that there was a disciple of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami. And as a young man, he was very dutiful. He joined the Math. He was exemplary. And, he was a good devotee. But somehow or other, he got into bad association and left the association of devotees and got into some really heavy maya, like really bad. So Virabha Prabhu was telling this story. So then death came. Death took him, and he found himself in the court of Yamaraj. Although he was a devotee, he was in the court of Yamaraj. Yamaraj is sitting in front of him, and he says, so what have you to say for yourself? Have you done anything noteworthy in this life? And the devotee, the devotee is crying, and he said, as a youth, I took shelter of his divine grace, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj. So as soon as he said the name of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he immediately woke up from his dead body. The dead body, Yamaraj put him back in his body, which was still functional, and he sat up on the funeral pyre. So his relatives are looking at him and crying and screaming, "What happened? What happened?" So he said, "I was just in the court of Yamaraj." And he told them the story. He said, "What have you done? Have you done anything good in this world?" And he said, I told him I took shelter of His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami. And then I woke up, and now I'm here again with you all. So I'm going to chant Hare Krishna and beg forgiveness for all my sins, because I want to go back home, back to Godhead. I never want to see Yamaraj again.
Hare Krishna.
So that's from Veerabahu Prabhu.
Thank you so much, Haribol.
Do we have time for one more question?
Oh yeah, we have time. We have 8 minutes.
So recently my mother called me to take care of her at the time of death. And I went back to Wisconsin and took care of her. And,
Can you put it closer to your mouth, Prabhu? We can't hear. Yes.
And she wouldn't allow me to chant in the house.
Mm.
And when I tried to play bhajan music, she said, "Turn that off. You know, I don't like that song." But at any rate, I chanted my rounds in the garage.
Mm.
And so in her last 36 hours, I was in her room at night, and she kept saying, "These people, they keep arguing. Who are they?"
Mm.
I didn't pay attention at first. And this kept going on all night. Finally, it clicked. Of course, I was short of sleep at this point.
Mm.
So I just, "Are they ugly?" And she said, "They're very ugly."
Oh.
So then I thought, all bets are off. I took out the sacred water from 108 places. I started spraying it on her. She said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Mom, it's rose water. It'll cool you off." I put on Prabhupada's chanting, and I just started chanting with her. So then she calmed down and started having horrific symptoms. So we couldn't control her. We couldn't keep her clean, or just horrific death symptoms. So they took her to a hospice, and I got a few hours sleep, and I woke up and went to the hospice, and I did everything I could to purify the room and chant and pray and play Prabhupada. And at the last moment, everyone left the room, and I was alone.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, okay, I'm so tired. And the nurse came in, and she saw my beads, and she started talking with me, and she said, "Oh, I also chant," and so forth. And she checked on my mother's symptoms, and she said, "She's leaving now."
Mm.
She said, "Can I chant with you?" So she went to one side of my mother, I was on the other side, and we chanted as she left this world. And I had managed to get Tulsi beads on her a few hours earlier as well. And that's my story.
Oh, Hare Krishna, thank you so much.
We heard the story of that Yamaraj had to take birth as Vidura.
Mm-hmm.
So while he was Vidura, who was running hell in this place?
You're very sharp, Prabhu. You always ask the things that no one ever thinks about. So while Yamaraj took birth as Vidura, who was running hell? Well, it is my understanding that all of the devatas are posts. Only Krishna is ever existing, and Shiva is Shiva Tattva, but everyone else is Jiva Tattva. So I believe another soul was taking the position of Yamaraj at that time. Oh.
I actually had two other comments. Two other comments. Somewhere here it said that the Yamadutas asked Yamaraj, there must be someone above you. So I was like, well, these are Yamadutas. They're so powerful. Didn't they get the handbook? Okay, I am Yamaduta. There's someone above me. But I guess not. You have to ask. And then then it shall be revealed to you. So the importance of asking. I guess even way up there, they still don't know.
Yeah.
And they have to ask.
Yeah, that's a really good realization. But isn't that's the beginning of all spiritual life, is asking, wait a minute, where did I come from? Why am I suffering? Where do we go when we die? And you'd be surprised, especially if you work in the world, how many people have never asked those questions. I had a conversation like recently with my husband where I was like, did you ever, because I grew up Catholic and he grew up Hindu, worshiping Vishnu. And I was like, did you ever, because I used to like lie awake at night and think, am I going to heaven? Am I going to hell? And how do you really know if you're going to make it or not? Because Catholicism is very vague. Anyway, and I was like, did you ever think about this? Like where you're going? And he was like, no. But everybody has some point in their life where they start thinking about it. Like, and I don't think he'll mind me sharing. It's like when his father passed away, then all of a sudden it was like, whoa, people leave, and what happens to them then? So a lot of people have a traumatic event that makes them start thinking philosophically. So just because the Yamadutas are serving a great devotee of the Lord doesn't necessarily mean that they've had that realization yet. Gokulananda Prabhu.
You see, even in the realm of demigods, like Mother Parvati asking Lord Shiva, I see that you are in meditation. If you are the Supreme Lord, then who are you meditating on? Then Narada asked Lord Brahma. So even in the realm of demigods, it is not revealed. It's most confidential unless and until somebody inquires into it. And going back to the question, I was thinking, like, we have several examples in the scriptures. Like Indra's son, Surya's son, Suryadev's son is Karna, Indra's son is Arjuna. They or Bali, right? Sugriv's brother Bali, and so on and so forth. Whenever they have to participate into any role that is given to them in the past times on this earth, so they expand, or their expansion or their energy is sent forth. So that's how Yamaraj, is not exactly 100% Yamaraj in the form of Vidura, but he was holding the post. He continued holding the post there, but then his ansha, or his energy, was transfused.
Hey, thank you for clarifying that. Anyone else? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Just one more comment I had, that, we were reading the same translation where it mentioned that the Vaishnavas, but, one would assume he was referring to the Vishnu Dutas. So I found it interesting that it is translated as Vaishnavas. So I was just thinking maybe here also it is, our trying to be Vaishnavas, it's our responsibility to share the holy name, because it's like, almost like Vishnu Dutas, so just the usage of Vaishnavas here instead of Vishnu Dutas.
Right.
It's made me think like,
Yeah, thank you. I think please, Mother Shtarya, the entire pastime is a reminder of how seriously we should take the opportunity to share the holy name with others.
It's so noteworthy that Vidura was so dear to Krishna, that Krishna went to see him, stayed with him. Even Duryodhana had made elaborate arrangements for Krishna to stay with him, but Krishna refused. Duryodhana even brought a little calf and had special preparations, but no, he stayed with Vidura. So that's very noteworthy.
Yes, definitely. It shows their special relationship. Thank you. All right. Well, that is time's up. Thank you so much for your participation. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.